Oh man, let's read some books. So I came across this video last night. What? Titled "Why Do We Read?" And I particularly like this quote. Like you don't need to understand or remember everything you read, just like the food you digest. You don't really remember what you ate 3 days ago. You don't even remember the menu or where you ate. But somehow the nutrition and all the good stuff stayed and provided that nutrients to your body. So that encouraged me to read all kinds of books. It will nurture my spirit and expand my consciousness. And this is my recent read by Amy Tan, The Kitchen God's Wife. Let me continue on page 31. I believe that was the last time I read. How's my favorite cousin? Bao Bao says to me from across the table, then gives me a toast with his upraised champagne glass. Looking good. I like the hair. Short, nice. Mimi, what do you think of Pero's haircut? Nice, huh? He has a knack for handing out compliments like party favors. One for everybody. I wonder sometimes if I would have liked him better if I didn't already know so much about him. Hey Phil, bro. Baba calls, pouring more champagne. You put on a few pounds, I see. The good life's been good. Maybe you're ready for that new system I told you about. A lot of decibels for the dollar. Bao says Bao says stereos and TVs at the good guys. He's very good at convincing people that their ears and eyes are refined enough to tell the difference between a standard model and his $500 upgrade. Phil once said that if Bao were turned loose, he could sell Bibles to the shiites. Behind us, at the grown-ups table, is a man named Loy Fang, Uncle Loy. He turns around and offers a toast of ginger ale in a plastic glass. So convenient for Mimi, he says. All she has to do is add a K to her name to get a husband. Wang to Kwang. Get it? He laughs the loudest at his own joke, then turns back around to repeat the joke to the others at his table. Next to him is his wife, Edna. These people have been going to the same church for years, but they're not really that close to either the Kwans or my family. I think they were invited because Edna Fang is in charge of ordering flowers for the sanctuary, and she's always bought them from Ding Ho, 20% off, of course. Auntie Helen is sitting at the same table as Loyal and Edna Fang. For this special occasion, she has on a baby pink satin Chinese dress, which is too tight for her plump body and already creased at her lap and above her round stomach. Every time she reaches over to pour more tea, her dress strains at the armpits, and I wonder which seam is going to rip first. Her thin hair has been newly permed, perhaps with the mistaken notion that it would look fuller. Instead, her hair looks deep fried, exposing her scalp underneath. My mother is seated directly across from Auntie Helen. She is wearing a new blue dress she made herself. In fact, designed herself. She told me, no pattern necessary. The dress is a simple A-line with puffy princess sleeves. It makes my mother's thin body look waif-like. Such a pretty silk, Edna Fang says to her. Polyester, my mother proudly informs her. Machine washable. Claire slips off her chair and climbs up onto my mother's lap. Habu, she says, I want to eat with chopsticks. My mother spins the lazy Susan around and dips her chopsticks into the appetizer plate. This is jellyfish, my mother explains, and dangles the quivering strand in front of Cleo's mouth. I watch my daughter open her mouth wide like a baby bird. and my mother drops the morsel in. See, you like it, my mother proclaims as Clear chomps and smiles. When your mother was a little girl, she said it tastes just like rubber bands. Don't tell me that, Clear suddenly shrieks and then wails, the half-eaten jellyfish dribbling out from her pouting lips. Don't cry, don't cry, Auntie Helen says soothingly from across the table. Look, here's some fragrant beef, huh? Yum, yum. Tastes like McDonald's hamburgers. Take it, you like. And Cleo, still full of indignant sobs, reaches over for the slice of beef and gobbles it down. My mother's mouth is shut tight. She looks away. And I feel so bad for her that she's been betrayed by her memory and my childhood fondness for rubbery tasting things. I think about a child's capacity to hurt her mother in ways she cannot ever imagine. The evening turns out to be much worse than I expected. Throughout the dinner, I watch my mother and Auntie Helen getting on each other's nerves. They argue in Chinese over whether a pork is too salty, whether the chicken is overcooked, whether the happy family dish used too many water chestnuts to cut down on the ration of scallops. I see Phil trying to make polite conversation with my cousin Frank, who is chain smoking, something Phil hates with a passion. I see old family friends who are not really friends making toast to a bride and groom-to-be who will surely be divorced in 2 years' time. I smile woodenly and listen to Mary and Dog chatting to me as if we were still the best of friends. Mostly I see my mother sitting one table away, and I feel as lonely as I imagine her to be. I think of the enormous distance that separates us and makes us unable to share the most important matters of our life. How did this happen? And suddenly everything, the flower arrangements on the plastic-topped tables, my mother's memories of my childhood, the whole family, everything feels like a sham, and also sad and true. All these meaningless gestures, old misunderstandings, and painful secrets, why do we keep them up? I feel as if I were suffocating and want to run away. A hand taps my shoulder. It's Auntie Helen. Not too tired? She whispers. I shake my head. Then come help cut the cake. Otherwise, I have to pay the restaurant extra. And of course, I wonder what secret she's about to confess now. In the kitchen, Auntie Helen cuts a white sheet cake into little squares and puts each piece on a paper plate. She licks whipped cream off her fingers, stuffs a failing strawberry back into the spongy center. Best cake in San Francisco, she said. Mary got it from Sanchi Bakery on Clement. You know the place? I shake my head and keep adding a plastic fork to each plate. Maybe you know something else then, she says sternly. About my own sickness? She stops cutting and looks at me, waiting for me to answer. I'm surprised by her sudden change in tone, because I honestly don't know what she's talking about. Doesn't matter, she answers tartly, and goes back to cutting more cake. I already know. And standing in the kitchen like that, she tells me how she had to go to the doctor 2 months ago. She had fallen down her front steps on a rainy day and hit her head against the rail. And my mother, who was with her at the time, had taken her to the hospital. They took x-rays, no broken bones, no concussion, not like Auntie Do, lucky for her. Instead, they found a little dark spot on her skull, did more tests. And that's how I knew, she says, tapping her head, sounding triumphant. God touched his finger there and told me, time to go. I have a brain tumor. Wow. I gasp, and Auntie Helen quickly adds, of course, the doctors did more tests later to make sure. Then they told me it is benign. She says this word as if she were calling out a bingo slot. B9. They said no problem, no need to operate. I sigh, and she continues. Your mother said, lucky you, nothing wrong. My children, your Uncle Harry, they all say, now you will live forever. But what do you think they are really saying? I shake my head. You look, why does Bao suddenly say he's getting married? Why does Mary say she's flying home, bringing the whole family? Let's have a reunion, she says, and Frank, he got a haircut before I had to ask twice. She smiles. Even your mother, today she said at the shop, go, You are busy with your son's party. I can make the wreath. Why are you shaking your head? This is true. Her face becomes more serious. I say to myself, why this big change? Everyone's so nice to me. Why so sudden? My children now respect me. Why? They come to see me. Why? Mary calls me mommy again. Your mother wants to do all the work. You know why? They know. They all know I'm dying. They won't say, but I think it must be very fast. I'm putting the plates on a tray. Oh, Auntie Helen, I'm sure there's nothing wrong. If they say it's benign, it means it's... She holds up a hand. No need to pretend with me. I'm not scared. I'm not a young woman anymore. Almost 73. I'm not pretending, I insist. You're not going to die? Everyone wants to keep this news from me, okay. They want to be nice before I die, okay. I can pretend too that I don't know. I'm starting to feel confused. I don't know whether Auntie Helen is really sick or only imagining something bad out of her children's good intentions. It does strike me as strange, though, what she said about everyone's sudden change of character. It would be just like the Kwans to pass around a secret and then pretend nobody knows a thing. Don't worry for me, she says, and pats my hand. I'm not telling you this so you have to worry. I only want to tell you so you understand why I can no longer keep your secret. What secret? She sighs deeply. Para, this is too much burden for me. It makes my heart and shoulders heavy that your mother does not know. How can I fly to heaven when this is weighing me down? No, you must tell your mother, Pero. Tell her about your multiple neurosis. I'm too stunned to laugh or correct her mistake. This is the right thing, Auntie Helen says with conviction. If you cannot tell her, then I must tell her myself, before the Chinese New Year. She looks at me with a determined face. And now I want to shake her, tell her to stop playing this game. Auntie Helen, you know I can't tell my mother that. You know how she is. Of course, she says. For 50 years I've been knowing your mother. That's why I know this is the right time to tell her. Why should I tell her now? She'll be only angry that we kept it as secret. She frowns. You are only concerned your mother will be angry with you? So selfish. No, I mean, there's no reason to tell her now. I'm fine. You think you can hide this until she dies? Maybe she lives to be 100? Then what do you do, huh? It's not that. I just don't want her to worry. This is her right to worry, says Auntie Helen. She's your mother. But she shouldn't have to worry about something that isn't really a problem. That's why you should tell her now. No more problem after that. But then she'll wonder why we kept this a secret from her. She'll think it's worse than it is. Maybe she has secrets too, she smiles, then laughs at what must be a private joke. Your mother, oh yes, plenty of secrets. I feel I'm in a nightmare, arguing with someone who can't hear me. Maybe Auntie Helen is right and she does have a brain tumor. Maybe it's eaten away at her brain and she's gone crazy. All right, I finally say, but you can't be the one who tells her. I will. Auntie Helen looks at me suspiciously. This is a promise? Promise? I whisper, and even I don't know if I'm lying. She rubs my shoulder, plucks at the fabric of my green wool dress. This is a good color for you, Pero. No more talking now. Let's go back. She hoists the tray of cakes. I can carry that, I say tersely. She hesitates, ready to argue. And then, perhaps in deference to her own illness, she lets me. After the dinner, we are back at my mother's house. The girls have done their usual segue of giggling, then fighting, then wailing, and have finally fallen asleep. I had considered asking my mother about Auntie Helen's brain tumor, but decided it was not the best time to have one subject lead into another. I'm exhausted. So, after declining my mother's offers of tea, instant coffee, and orange juice, I stand up and yawn. I'm going to bed, I said. Phil offers my mother a goodnight kiss, which she cautiously accepts with a stiff upturned cheek. And at last we have escaped to our room. Did you bring your toothbrush? My mother calls to us through our closed door. Brush your teeth already? Got him. Phil calls back. They are brushed. Enough blankets? Enough towels? Plenty, he says. He rolls his eyes at me. Good night, he calls and turns off the light. It is quiet for about 5 seconds. Too cold? Heater can be turned up. Ma, we are fine, I say with a little too much irritation. And then I say, more gently this time, don't worry, go to bed. I hold my breath. There is only silence. And finally, I hear her slippers slowly padding down the hallway, each soft shuffle breaking my heart. Oh my God. I'm really having goosebumps at the moment. Like this thing, it's just almost alive in front of my eyes. I feel like I'm just right next to them and I can feel that tension. It's insane. I love this, man. I think I'm finally in the story. This is really what made me want to write this power of storytelling through writing. I want to absolutely hone this craft. I want to master this skill. I want to tell stories that has the same impact. I mean, you can't really measure impact. I just want to make some impact, you know what I mean? Through storytelling. All right, let me see. I've read 16 minutes. Okay, taking a break. Thanks for reading with me. Cheers.